In today's video, we're going to be tracking the upcoming pattern, including today, where we have a very rare high risk of severe weather. We also have multiple upcoming days afterwards of some pretty significant severe weather as well. I don't want it to get too overshadowed by today, which is obviously an extremely impactful day. That doesn't mean that dangerous weather isn't also going to happen on other days as well. So we're going to focus on all of these days equally. So let's go ahead and move through it. As we take a look at this afternoon of today, what we're going to basically see is that there is some storms firing up here across Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. This is going to be approximately 2 or 3 p.m., but we have not even seen the most of it by this point, obviously. By the time we're seeing thunderstorms around these areas as well, we're gonna be seeing thunderstorms really prevailing throughout a lot of the Ohio Valley up and down the East Coast, and then a lot of snowfall here for the Northwest and rainfall in the lower elevation areas here, so pretty wintry there. This all comes as a 993, is bringing a cold front down below. So we're seeing cold air really surging in from the northwest through down into those areas. And then we're seeing this kind of really intense climb of this warm air to the east of that cold front. And this creates a lot of rotation. It creates a lot of instability, and that is why we have a high risk today. By the time we reach about 8 p.m. here today on Monday, May 6th, we see that the worst of these thunderstorms are starting to get going. So it is going to be a later in the evening type of event, and it will last overnight as well. But Oklahoma is our main area to watch, as well as some of Kansas up through Nebraska and South Dakota. The heart of that high-risk area is somewhere in here. We will take a look at the Storm Prediction Center later on, so keep that in mind. Let's take a look at by time we're reaching about 11 p.m. here, and we see that a lot of these thunderstorms are starting to get going by this point for, again, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska. Really, really impactful day expected ahead. Again, high risk of severe weather. They are extremely rare. I've touched on this throughout our previous videos, talking about how moderate risk is even extremely high, because I would say about 50% of years, at least in recent history, we haven't even seen a high risk at all during the entire year. And then the other half, we have seen one or two, or maybe more in some very extreme cases. But they are very, very rare, and they're not something that we see like once a month on the highest events. No, I mean, they really only use these for days where they feel like things are going to get very serious, and that happens rarely. So definitely do not take this event lightly. Let's take a look at Tuesday morning, where we still have some thunderstorms ongoing along this cold front boundary, still in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin here, as we still have a very strong parent low up here, 982 over the Dakotas, and we have a secondary 1001 low down here over Missouri. And honestly, day 2 seems pretty intense as well, as we have a chance of thunderstorms along all of these areas here for the Great Lakes and Upper Midwest, through portions of the Ohio Valley, and even stretching down into the southeast for day 2. And then day 3, we kind of get this resurgence here of a lot of these thunderstorms to the south. So for Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, we're going to be watching a lot of areas like this for Wednesday on the 8th for even more severe weather once again. Some pretty heavy snowfall still ongoing for the Rockies, including Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming there. And we see some thunderstorms from the mid-Atlantic up through the northeast for this date also. Now, for Thursday, during the afternoon, we do actually have a pretty elevated severe weather risk for the Gulf states and the East Coast states here. We will see that later on again when we take a look at the Storm Prediction Center on that extended outlook. So at least a slight risk for a lot of those areas, could even go higher. So a pretty impactful severe weather day for a lot of the east here, as we have a strong low over kind of between Ohio and Pennsylvania. And then that, again, pretty elevated chance of severe weather underneath. Let's take a look at the day following on Friday the 10th here of May. And we still have some showers and thunderstorms, as well as maybe a few flurries happening there across the mountainous northeast, due to an offshore low, 993 here, bringing quite a bit of wind and rain there to the northeast. Still seeing some isolated and scattered about thunderstorms here for the deeper south areas like Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and down through Florida. Let's take a look here at Saturday on the 11th. What we end up seeing is some thunderstorms, showers, and even snow showers there for the Four Corner states. And another pocket of a weaker low featuring some thunderstorms and showers here for the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. Again, Saturday the 11th. Sunday the 12th, a lot of that stretches down into mostly the mid-Atlantic there. Deeper south central states seeing quite a bit of thunderstorms and showers on that Sunday as well. Monday, this stretches across a lot of the Gulf states here all the way to Florida. So we're still seeing the elevated areas in the southern plains, but also along this Gulf Coast as well. Relatively quiet if you look at the nation as a whole, though. And then by Tuesday, we're seeing this area begin to expand still. We're moving very close to the summertime. So what we're going to start to see, and I'm seeing some of it here, but especially near the Canadian-US border, is just chances of showers and thunderstorms for basically everywhere on any given day because of the warmth and humidity. And we're starting to see a lot of that for the south central states and southeast as well. But as you know, chances for just sporadic thunderstorms and showers go up once we reach that peak summertime. So this is looking more and more like that. We're still not totally there, but it does quite look like that. And I'd say this frame actually encompasses a lot of what we can expect to see. This is Wednesday for the 15th. 994 up above, but look at how many areas are dealing with isolated and scattered thunderstorms. It's like a third of the nation at least seeing these chances of isolated and scattered thunderstorms. This does happen, and most days in the summertime are going to look like this. And May 15th is getting awfully close, about 15 days until meteorological summer from that point. So we are getting awfully close. And by the next, well, I guess we only get to overnight that night because we're looking at the 0Z model run here. So here's that evening, and you can see even more consistent with those thunderstorms, I would say, by that point. Let's take a look at the total precipitation, and no surprise, if you're east of the Rockies here, I mean, you're looking at pretty elevated activity for areas nearby the Rockies, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Deep South, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, Southeast, pretty much everywhere seeing pockets of above average activity in here. Total snowfall here. Taking a look at these areas, we see the Cascades can expect anywhere from about 6 inches to a foot in this high elevation areas. The Rockies are looking at anywhere from about 1 to 2 feet in the highest of elevations. Even a few inches maybe for the northeast mountainous areas still. So definitely it's not totally done, but we are getting closer and closer every single day. Let's take a look at the temperature pattern. We do expect warmth to prevail at least through Thursday, Friday in the east. And then we're going to really see a lot of this warmth relocate to the west here, as you can see, where we have the cold air moving around that positive PNA area. We talk about this all the time, but basically whatever the conditions are out here, expect the opposite in the east. That is a good rule of thumb. We see the warmth prevailing out west, and cold really seems to be common in the east. Anywhere from about this, I would say it's really getting going by Saturday. So Saturday the 11th, all the way through Saturday the 18th. So maybe a whole week of colder, I should say. That's likely to be 70s and upper 60s for most folks. So it's not going to be too terrible. But it's definitely not going to be in the 80s or 90s like we're seeing some of for some areas during this pattern that we're in. We do see things warm up after that Saturday and into that following week. So by the time we're reaching kind of the 20th and beyond, it does look a little bit warmer in here. Although look out west, we still have warm temperatures out west. So this is going to really limit the amount of warmth that we see in the east. And we should actually expect some more cooldowns in there as long as this western air mass stays that way. So that is kind of what we're expecting for the upcoming pattern. This should provide a little bit more amplification for a lot of storms and severe weather, unfortunately. When we see these kind of warm-ups followed by cooldowns, warm-ups followed by cooldowns, that pattern brings a lot worse weather than just a pure warm pattern. So we're going to have to wait and see, but I think I'm leaning more towards that active severe weather pattern. Oops, spoiler alert for the long range. Let's move towards that later on. Day one here, again, we do have that very rare level 5 high risk of severe weather, including, I mean, a lot of the nation is under a general thunderstorm risk for today. Again, this is for Monday, May 6th, all the way through 6 a.m. on Tuesday, May 7th. And the general thunderstorm risk areas there, don't expect severe weather. Anything is possible though, so pay attention, but it's not expected. The darker green area there is that level 1 marginal risk area where we do expect isolated severe weather to occur. Your yellow area is your level 2 slight risk area where we expect scattered about severe weather reports to come out. The orange area for Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, portions of Oklahoma and Arkansas there. that is where we expect a little bit more widespread severe weather. Then the red area is your moderate risk, where again, that's a little bit misleading. It is a very high risk of severe weather. It's your level 4 moderate risk. It's the second highest that there is, and you expect widespread, damaging, or life-threatening severe weather in those types of scenarios. And then in that pink area, that is your very rare level 5 high risk of severe weather for portions of Oklahoma and Kansas. And this is where we expect very widespread, very dangerous, and potentially life-threatening severe weather to occur in here. They do expect the really high potential for major tornadoes to occur in here, life-threatening tornadoes, and also extremely large hail are the two main probabilities. And speaking of that, let's just go through the probabilities since it's such a dangerous day here for day 1, and we can even zoom in here. Let's go ahead and do that. I think that's a great idea. Let me see if I can get even further. Let's zoom into like Oklahoma and see if we can still see the Kansas area. There we go. That's going to be perfect. So here's your hail outlook for these areas. The hatched, that indicates that there is a 2+ inch diameter hail kind of expected to be possible in there. So very, very large hail in there. And then the colors are just your probability. So the 5% chance is going to be these areas, and this is all within 25 miles of a given location. So let's say you live in there. The brown means there's a 5% chance of hail happening within 25 miles of your house. Same thing for the yellow here, except it's a 15% chance. Red is a 30% chance, and pink is a 45% chance there for Oklahoma and Kansas. So that's a 50-50 shot of extremely large hail happening within 25 miles of your house. So that's pretty crazy odds. Same story with the wind here, except that main threat is going to be a little bit further eastward there. But we do have the 5% in the brown, 15% in the yellow, 30% in the red, and then 45% in that pink as well. And then the hatched area is going to indicate a good possibility of 74 mile per hour plus winds to occur in there, so very severe. 58 mile per hour is considered severe, so 74 mile per hour is extremely severe. And then here's your tornado probabilities. We have a little bit different percentages in here, so 2% in the green, 5% in the brown, 10% chance in the yellow, 15% chance in the red, and then a 30% chance there in the pink. So yes, in the pink, there's nearly a 1 in 3 chance that a large tornado or I guess a tornado in general occurs within 25 miles of your home if you live in there, which is crazy odds, obviously. The black indicates a good chance, or about a 10% chance, of an EF2 plus tornado happening within 25 miles of a given location. So basically a major tornado happening. This is just as elevated as it basically gets for tornadoes. You rarely see anything worse than this. So this is about as bad as it gets. So this is a dangerous day. This is one of those rare days, and this is one of those days where you just want to pay so much attention, be so careful, heed every watch warning and advisory seriously today, because things could get life-threatening so quick, and just be as prepared as you possibly can, guys. I can't emphasize that enough. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and just move back to the United States view. Let's move to the day 2 outlook, because still, again, these days following do feature potentially dangerous severe weather. Maybe not as bad as day 1, but anything is possible, so we're going to pay attention to everything here. We have a general thunderstorm risk in the Rockies and then a lot of the east here, where, again, no severe weather is expected, but anything is truly possible. Your marginal risk here in the darker green is going to be that level 1 severe weather risk, where we expect isolated severe weather reports to come out from these areas. And then a lot of the Ohio Valley there is in a slight risk, which is your level 2, with scattered about severe weather reports happening in kind of clusters. Day 3 here, we're getting a little bit more intense. We have another general thunderstorm risk area, another marginal risk area, another very large slight risk area, where again we expect those scattered about severe weather reports. But we have another large enhanced risk here for a lot of the deep south, kind of some of the southern plains as well, up through the Ohio Valley and portions of the Midwest as well. This is going to be featuring potentially some widespread severe weather in there. And with how large that enhanced risk area is, unfortunately, I would not be surprised if we see an upgrade to a moderate risk for this day on Wednesday, May 8th. I also wouldn't be surprised if we don't, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do either. So we're just going to have to track it moving forward. I would say it's about a 50-50 shot here for this day 3, Wednesday, May 8th date. Now, again, as we saw that spoiler day, 4 here, extended outlook for Thursday, May 9th is going to feature at least a slight risk here for Texas, and then from Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, up through portions of the Delmarva there in New Jersey. That is where we expect at least a slight risk in there. Again, with this large of a slight risk area expected, don't be surprised if we have an enhanced in any of these areas or worse. We're just going to have to track it and watch and see. But since this is the day 4 outlook, we will know a lot more tomorrow because it will be moving into the day 3 range where we will get the categorical outlooks. So we'll know a lot more, guys. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.